we're the Venture Brothers. Shouldn't we work together?
What does it take to get rid of you, you parasite? Tweezers and a match? I'll give you life. I'll give you half my stuff. I gave you the X2, for God's sake. What more do you want? My blood? Here, take it. Take my blood. Or better yet, just climb right on back inside me. Go on. Jump back in there. Come on.
Fine. Never mind.
Hi! Welcome to Venture Brothers Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Nick, the lost Friedemann.
Oh, cool. When am I going to get found?
Well, hang on a second, because we also have Graham, the found Mason.
Oh.
Hey! Can I be are you... Wait, so does that make you the founder?
No.
Then? Bryan?
I'm the searcher.
Oh.
Of the lost and the found.
Yeah, I don't actually expect to find anything. You know, I'm just looking.
Perfect.
Just searching,
I'm more so just browsing.
And Bryan, the browser Dressel.
I kind of like it.
I feel like we're describing like Oscar Bluth.
Yeah. Perfect. So, last week I said we did it, but this week we're continuing to do it. We're back. Season 2. Episode 1.
We're so back. It's crazy.
I will say this before we jump into everything. Fuck, this show comes back strong.
Yes, it does.
And I can say that as a running theme throughout the entirety of Venture Brothers. When they come back strong.
Indeed.
Unless you disagree with me. But I think every season premiere is pretty fucking great.
Yeah. I mean, they do have some time in between to make the...
That is true. We cannot ignore the 2-year gap.
Yeah. If they didn't come back strong... Well, fuck you, sirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they came back with a season 2 opening version of The Terrible Secret of Turtle Bay, that's kind of the end, in my opinion. Oh, you did that, did you? Which actually would have been funny. Which, if they probably should have come back with The Terrible Secret of Turtle Bay 2, or Part 2, and that would have been pretty funny.
The more terrible secrets of Turtle Bays. Turtle Cove this time.
I do want to bring up the fact that, like, I think this is their strongest opening to a season ever, and I think it's honestly one of the strongest oh my god, my mouth, guys. The strongest opening to a season for any show, I think, is this. Coming back from a season finale to this is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I could try to come up with a list of other very good season openers, but I mean, I'm very biased when it comes to TV. This is my favorite show. I would definitely agree. I love all their season premieres, but this one is far and away their best. And that's even including season 7, which just happened, had a wonderful season premiere. Does not hold a candle to this one.
Yeah, there's something to me about the music. It's weird. I've had this song stuck in my head for like the last 3 days.
Here, let's pause really quick and do a recap of the episode. And since you're the one who's talking about it, let's let you do it. Let's tell everyone what happens.
Okay.
Season 2, episode 1, before we start diving into it.
So season 2, episode 1 starts off with this kind of like, would you describe it as house music?
Yeah.
So
yeah, house EDM. Yeah.
Of course, Graham knows.
House Edom music.
Shut up.
It starts off with this music playing, which is important because you're basically watching a montage of all this stuff that's paying off, that's kind of doing this really, really interesting recap of kind of what happened from season 1 into season 2, but also reminding you of what happened in season 1 in this creative way. So you see, 21 and 24 destroying the Monarch's floating cocoon. You see Dr. Girlfriend and Phantom Limb together. You see basically the Dr. Orpheus and Triana sitting at the table, and Dr. Orpheus starts to cry. And then you see the Rusty Venture basically another important one is you see Jonas Venture Jr. getting his arm from Billy Quizboy. all of which are important for later on in the season, blah, blah, blah. But the biggest one is you see Rusty basically running into the X2, fighting off like Pete and Billy Quizboy and Brok and flying away. And then you see him hiding in these different areas while Brock's trying to find him. And Brok eventually finds him in this like rave and then takes him back, where Rusty is having a baby with this woman named Sky. And then she's never heard from again. And then basically, from that point on, Dr. Orpheus is trying to revive the boys. He can't find their souls. And basically, Jonas Venture Jr., in the absence of Rusty, has taken on all these contracts and basically become the breadwinner for the family and created this teleporter, which Rusty basically just kind of shits the bed and uses without ever testing it on anything. And then he splits himself into 3 pieces, firing 2 people who seemingly have been trapped in the manufacturing wing of the compound for 20 years. And then basically it's them from that point on, with him being trapped in the wall, recapping to Dr. Orpheus kind of what's essentially happened, which is that the boys are clones. And this is not the first time that they have died, and it certainly won't be the last time that they will die. They are clones, and this is how he brings them back. And that's... the B story of this is also the Monarch is breaking out of jail.
Yeah, which I appreciate having it, but it's the only thing in this episode that I didn't necessarily need. It's still very strong and I enjoy it, but it's like I'm so into everything else.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
100%. It is hands down the weakest part of the episode for sure.
Yeah.
But still pretty strong.
Yes.
Still, you got some good King Gorilla moments, good Phantom Limb moments, Monarch moments, and then it introduces some other supervillains who are in prison, so I think it's entirely necessary, but yeah, it's definitely the weakest part of this episode.
But I mean, if this is the weakest part, that's saying volumes for it, because it's still very good.
Like White Noises, all of White Noises.
That character is just the best. It's such a weird character, but exactly what the show kind of like really starts to embrace, which is amazing.
Yeah. I could have done without... What is it, Calendar Boy?
Like I love Mr. Monday. Like I told, like our note taker Brok, even he agrees with me. Like Mr. Monday's so. Just because the second they start planning a breakout, Mr. Monday goes, "Ooh, can we do it on a Monday?" Like, I'm so into it just for that joke alone. Like that part, I'm like, all right, I'm in. I get it. I'm totally on board.
I want to be the president of calendars.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're wrong, Graham. He's awesome.
I mean, he can't hold a candle to White Noise. White Noise is just...
No, absolutely not. No.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just something so bizarre about the whole thing, and I love that they call attention to it, where he's like, can't have anybody mixing with my white blood. And he's like, the Monarch is like, do you even have any blood? Like, aren't you just made up of static?
Oh, I used to.
Oh, my God. The one thing that I want to hit on this thing before we move too far into everything that I think this episode does, I thought it was a really bold move, especially because they just pulled the ripcord on it by the end. As I love that they stuck to the boys are dead for the majority of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, so even the intros, like, it's the Venture Brothers, and they really try to pull one over on the audience of doing a whole new intro with Rusty and Jonas Venture Jr. being the Venture Brothers. I thought that...
And Jonas Venture Jr. even says it. He's like, "We're the Venture Brothers. Come on!"
I love that. Like, I love that. Like, they're like, if you were been watching this organically, you'd be like, "Really? Is this where the show's going now?"
Yeah, you're like, "Oh shit!" I mean, I guess if they're dead, then and they are, I guess, brothers. So, all right. I mean, I guess I'll watch.
Yeah, that's a bold move. I'll keep watching it. But then by the end of it, it's like, oh, okay, and then
you dicks. But yeah, no, it's effective. And like, again, as we were kind of saying, it's like if you were watching this live and, with the, fanboys and stuff like that talking about it and, coming up like, man, what are they going to do? Are the boys actually dead? Were they clones? Or are the new Venture Brothers going to be the new Venture Brothers? Is it going to be Rusty and Jonas? And I mean, I guess that makes sense. And then for them to come out like this blatant, this strong. You're like, yeah, this is it. These are the new Venture Brothers. It's a bold move to be like, to then throw it on its head in the first episode.
I'm glad they did it in one episode. They didn't kind of leave you hanging with it. Like, that's another reason why I think the episode's as strong as it is, because it's like, it does a good, like, oh, this is what we're watching. Oh, no, I'm going back to what I already love. Like, okay, good.
Right.
Other things I just kind of want to bring up in this episode that I feel Nick will want to talk about more so than I do, but fucking Hell, man. Hell is so good.
Yes. I am obsessed. This is one of the things I did want to bring up, which is there's such a weird shift of watching all of season 1 as a chunk and then watching season 2, because season 1 I think borrows a lot of this is all of the Venture Brothers. This is not just a season 1 thing, but borrows a lot from pop culture, right? And season 2 and every other season they've done also does that. But this is the first time that I can remember them introducing something so interesting and feeling new that I could not find out if it was a reference to something else. I don't think it is. I think this is their version of what Hell is. And I think that's the first... They're starting to mix their ideas with pop culture, which I think is a fascinating thing, which is something that comes up more and more and more often as the show goes on.
It's honestly, it becomes one of the strongest things in the show. Like, their version of Spider-Man just fucking kills me every time. Like,
yes.
Like, the more they kind of interject Jackson Publix and Doc Hammer's, like, their own sense of humor into what we already know, the show just gets better and better and better.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hell is, I think, what it's my favorite part of the episode.
It's so good. Like, so... Like, I don't want to ruin, like... Well, we don't do quotes on this show. We can totally ruin the quote here. Nick, you say it better than I do.
Oh, where he's like, I am a Roman centurion or whatever. And he's like, no, you're not. You died, like, at a costume party and you choked on something. He's like, that's why you're in hell, because you're a fucking liar.
Oh, please, just let everybody know.
Yeah, everybody knows.
You're a fucking liar. That's why you're in hell.
Oh, we've talked about this multiple times, that they do this thing where they have, like, this immediate familiarity.
Yeah.
Like, they do it with the henchmen all throughout season 1. They do it, like, continuously throughout the shows, that they've been stuck there for, what? Like, probably at least 30 years.
Yeah.
Probably. And they probably fucking hate each other, but their two faces just, like, mashed into this, like, icy earth. And that's their existence.
Yeah. And, like, even season 1 had, like, some of these moments of, like, you just... I mean, this is a little bit more blatant, but you, like... You catch just little segments of people's conversations. Like, the one that I remember from season 1 of the two henchmen talking outside the gates of whatever. It's like, oh, wow, you've got that new bag. Yeah, this one's got... Yeah,
like Velcro or something like that.
Yeah, this one's got Velcro. This one... Oh, well, I've got one of the original ones with zippers. And Brok comes and shoves a pole down his mouth. Like, hurdles over the fence. You're like, just amazing. That was... whatever, 5-10 seconds, and it was an amazing moment. And again, they do it here, and it's just great. It's just a little bit, but you can read so much of their humor into it.
Exactly.
And it's actually pretty intelligent too. I mean, you were talking about, like, their versions of hell and their versions of this and that, and actually in the end of this episode, you have Dr. Venture talking with Dr. Orpheus about clones and, you know, playing God and creating this and losing souls and stuff like that. And he's like, what's the difference between me and you? What's the difference between me as a scientist doing, you're like, okay, you call hell, you know, this, and purgatory versus a computer versus synapses versus, you know, all of this. And you're like, wow, that's actually pretty well explained and very well thought out. And it's a really smart example.
It's something that, like, I'll give another shout out to him. Our note taker Brok brought up that I thought was very funny. The only thing that Rusty is good at is a moral and wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the one thing he can do, he can defend it well, he can do it well, and it's like the one thing that nobody wants him to do except for, you know, spoilers, Nazis. But, like, it's...
Yep.
I love that I love that about Rusty. The only thing he's good at is the one thing he shouldn't do. Although, granted, his kids are very death prone, as he says. So maybe he should do it.
Yeah. Or else he'd be childless.
For sure. I also think, to jump off of what Graham was saying, I think it's... Because it just made me realize, it's one of the only shows I think of that can kind of merge sci-fi and fantasy pretty seamlessly.
Yeah. They do a very good job of it, yeah.
Yeah, they do a really good job. And they do a good job of kind of splitting it in a weird sort of way, so they exist in two worlds at the same time in one world. Like, it's just interesting.
Yeah, and they especially in this episode alone, right? Both of those worlds converge to where Dr. Orpheus is looking for their souls, and then Dr. Venture's like, oh, I basically just have those stored in a computer.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like I don't know of many shows that would have at least like that straight of a correlation between science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah. Can we talk for a minute about the montage of all the murders?
Yes.
Because holy,
And they actually do 13 of them. I was like, oh wow, I wonder if they go through all. They do.
13.
Go through all 13 of their deaths.
but I thought they missed one. Are you sure? I feel like they missed one.
Because they say 14, like that would have been the 14th, the one that they just died from. And so they did 13 to recap all of the ones, except for the one that we just saw.
Yes, and some of them are solo ones, which brings up another interesting weird thing.
Yeah, because it's like, well then, did you just kill the other one? Or what? Just like, they only come in pairs.
Yes. I did some research, and it's kind of fascinating. There's one of Bryan's favorite episodes, Ice Station Impossible, brings up an interesting theory, which is when Hank asks Brok to kill him, he's like, how would you do it? And Brok answers right away, and he's like, you've thought about this? He's like, yes, I have. Like, that could be what ends up happening. Brok might be the one who has to kill basically the other one if only one of them ends up dying. The other thing could be the other suggestion that I saw when I was looking this up is that they do have mind wiping technology, so it could just be a simple mind wipe and then go backwards.
But knowing Brok, I think he would take that chance to vent some frustration.
Probably.
Sure.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
I love Brok, but he has an anger problem that has been well established. So.
But I also love that Brok grows throughout the show, because I think once they no longer have that safety net, he would do anything to protect the boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's getting way ahead of ourselves. But I think while they still have that safety net, it's like, no, one's not gonna know why the other one's dead. This is gonna be confusing. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one? Like, if you had to pick one out of that montage, what's your favorite one?
I bet Bryan can guess mine.
I would go for, I hope I'm not wrong, but I would definitely guess for Nick's sense of humor would be the bow and arrows.
Oh,
with the apples.
That's
on the head.
close. That's my number 2. I dressed up as it for Halloween one year.
Oh God, poor Hank.
Yes,
jumping off the roof.
that's the one. Hank in a Batman costume is immediately my favorite thing the show has ever done in my entire life.
I am the Bat. I'm so excited to get to that episode.
So excited.
I agree with that death as well, because it's so simple. It's so Hank. You're like, oh, I totally know exactly. Yeah. And he's just in his head, just, I am the Bat. I am the Bat. I am the Bat.
Honestly, I'm going to disagree with both of you, just because it's not my favorite out of the death, but it's the dialogue that gets me. Of you have the whole montage, and then they're just asleep in their bed. He's like, gas leak that time. The silent killer.
Yes. That one's an amazing one.
Yeah. Just to speak up for the facial hair one, that would probably be
yes, that's
a top one. So if I had to pick a one unique versus Nick's, then I would pick the one with their mustaches, and then just immediately they're like, wait, wasn't that the one where we both, oh my God, yes, you're totally right, and they just crack up. And you're like, you're talking about the 14 times that your children basically are dead, and you're laughing hysterically. Like, yeah. It's so this show.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Laugh through the pain.
I also want to bring up the craftsmanship of the montage for both montages, actually. But the craftsmanship, because Bryan's favorite doesn't work if you haven't established the room.
Sure.
And they established the room like 3 or 4 times before that one, and you're expecting, like all the other ones, something to burst through the wall, which is what's been happening. And then it just doesn't, and you have this beat of like, wait, so then what am I watching? The craftsmanship of that is incredible. That is like such a well-timed and well-executed joke.
Yep.
It is one of those things that's like it's the only Venture Brothers is the only type of show you get that joke on. Mm-hmm. Like, it's timed so well, it hits perfectly, and you're just laughing at just a random line and like a freeze still, like a still frame. Like, it's so good.
Yes.
But let's talk the other montage a little bit. We really haven't touched on it, and I think that's actually, you know what? Let's hold that for last. I want to talk just a little bit because we haven't given them any lip service whatsoever. But this is the first time we see 21 and 24 out of their costumes. And I noticed, because I watched these episodes back to back, in the season 1 finale, 21 is talking to 24 about how much his hair is bothering him. And 24 is like, all right, after we're done with this, we're going to a barbershop. He's like, no, I'm growing out a ponytail. And in this episode, he's got a ponytail.
Yep. Looks pretty good on him.
Yeah. But I feel like throughout the entirety of season 1, they just get like more and more of a presence. But I don't think until they had the downtime between season 1 and 2, they realized how much the fans loved them. Mm-hmm. And once they figure that out, it's like, oh, these two need to be main characters. And it just kicks right out of the door with them as main characters.
Yeah. And throws up a pretty interesting plot possibility when they're at their, whatever, grief meeting or whatever that is called.
It's like a henchman reform meeting, I think is the point of it, is to not do henching anymore.
Yeah. 21 sucks at that.
I mean, I love that line of like, yeah, and then like when the queen bee dies, and then another bee eats like a bunch of royal jelly and then becomes the new queen. I could do that with a monarch. I could call myself the viceroy. And he's like, and then everybody else in the meeting is like, yeah. Like, oh boy. Oh, this isn't gonna be.
You've lost control of the room, sir. You have lost control.
I love when 24 comes up behind him, like when he's going through the donuts. He's like, "What is that? A royal jelly donut? Yeah, you big queen."
I love that. And like, it has a quote that since I've seen this episode, I have quoted more times than I could ever possibly imagine. Of the a beard is no excuse for a jawline, no matter how you trim it. Yeah. Because anytime I see somebody with a beard trying to be a jawline, I can't help myself.
Yep. Also, I guess I am on the craftsmanship train this time. They do some excellent visual storytelling by letting you know immediately who both of them are with only one of them talking.
Yeah.
Because when 21 starts talking, you see they do a great shot of 24 kind of sitting there, and as soon as he hears the voice, he opens his eyes, and then basically they do the opposite shot from 24's perspective, or 21's perspective, and 24 is kind of like leaning around trying to like make sure that it's actually him. Like, it's great visual storytelling so that you can immediately, as the audience, know who both of them are in that moment.
Oh, yeah. And especially if you've been a fan of all season 1, you know you love these characters. And it's like, oh, I've never seen them out of their suits before.
Exactly.
And you immediately know who they both are. Like, it's, very, very well done.
It's something that I would also say is kind of missing from bits of season 1, that it's incredibly strong for them to put that at the beginning of season 2 and be like, we need to really start finessing some of these episodes because we need to make it work. So instead of having them have a line that would just be pure exposition, they do it in a way that's just like, if you've been paying attention, this is who it is. And then that kind of informs the way that they approach all the other seasons as well.
Yeah, and it just shows how much they grow from season 1 to 2. Like, they just learned so much while making season 1 that 2 just, like, out of the gate just comes out swinging. Like, so impressive.
Absolutely.
But speaking of out of the gate, let's talk about that opening montage, because there's a lot to unpack with that thing.
Yes.
And a lot of fan theories, and a lot of fans who hate the opening montage. And I'm like, what?
Interesting. Do any of us hate the opening montage?
I love it.
So that's a no. I'm not. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. But it doesn't really fit Dr. Venture's kind of character, especially for the rest of this episode, and of if you understand their clones from the last season, then it's like, well, what is he doing? Why does he even care? Why is he going on this, soul searching, spirit search for, what seems like could be 6 months or a year, but ends up only turning out to be like a month, I think, or 2 months or something. That would be my only thing, to where it's like, I was kind of confused of like, at the end of like what we last saw him in, he was like, all right, they're dead, whatever, get their clothes. And they've died 13 times before, so what's the deal?
So here's my wife's take on it, and this is the episode I should have had her on, apparently, because she broke it down while we were watching it, because I was kind of asking the same question. I'm like, why does he freak out so much this? I love the montage. Yeah. I think it's perfect, but I agree with you. It doesn't really make sense. And she's like, I just assumed he did it every time.
Yes.
Like, every time he's like, I don't have to be a dad right now. Woohoo! And just goes off and does whatever the hell he wants, because he's no longer tied down to the kids. So he can do anything he wants. And Brok's like, come on, we need to go back to work. Go back to what you're doing. And he's like, fuck this. I can be me now.
Absolutely. That was my read on it as well. Because they do a really great job with Brok, who is not... He does not allude to what ends up being the surprise of that the boys are clones. He doesn't allude to that at all. He kind of does. He says, you need to take care of what happened to the boys.
Yeah.
I believe that's the line, which is a pretty vague line, though you understand. And he basically, the point that he makes has almost very little to do with the boys. It has everything to do with money. So he's like, you have to come back because the bills are piling up, blah, blah. And yeah, I completely agree with Chewie. That was my take on it as well. It's like almost like a sabbatical sort of thing for him.
Yeah. Like, the boys disappear, and he's like, thank God I don't have any legitimate responsibilities now. I'm going to take a vacation.
Yeah.
Because, again, I love our note taker, but he goes through the whole, he thinks Dr. Venture was legitimate grieving. He does this because he feels bad about his boys. I don't have that much faith in Rusty. I always think Rusty's kind of a scumbag. That's why I love him. I love him for how terrible of a person he is. If he actually cared about the boys, I don't feel like it's such a rarity. Like, we're told time and time again, Rusty doesn't love his sons.
Yes.
Like, they hammer that into you.
That's why he made them clones.
Yeah, because he doesn't care. Like, if he cared, he'd do something to stop them from dying.
Yeah.
Like, he'd protect them. He'd try to be a father. But he just doesn't give a shit. He's like, they died again, whatever, 2 more, who cares?
The way he approaches, his sons is the way some people approach car repair, which is, somebody broke my window, I'll just duct tape a fucking clear plastic bag to it.
Totally. That's where, I really do appreciate that a lot of the fans out there think that Rusty's this good guy who wants to be a good dad, but I don't see it. I don't think it's there in the show.
No, I do not think there's much evidence to support that.
Yeah. So the idea of why is Rusty grieving? I don't think he is. I think he's fucking celebrating.
And I kind of see that as well. But it's one of those things of well, why? Yeah, I don't know. Why does he even go back? Why does Brok even go after him and all of this? It's I don't know. It doesn't fully fit. It's neither one or the other. I don't think he's fully grieving, but the celebration and being on his own and not having to be a father, I think fits to a bit, but it's not fully there for me. But I still love it. It's still great. I'm still entertained. I love the song. I love the montage. Again, you're talking about craftsmanship of this whole episode. I think it's very effective. They certainly learned a lot, and they're playing with kind of, it's odd to say, but new filming technology. They're actually playing with focus and different cells on top of each other, and actually putting the background out of focus and foreground and racking focus and elements and stuff. I think it's really cool, and technologically it's higher quality than the last season. So
for sure.
And I feel like they make a pretty big jump in each and every season of quality of animation and just everything. maybe not storytelling. Storytelling, I think from pretty much season 2 on stays pretty even keel of like once they kind of learn how to tell their story, they got it. But as far as like the technical aspects, I think they get a little bigger and better throughout. But I think we should move into the end of this thing. Do we want to go with favorite moments?
Yeah,
Sure.
We did have a request. I will throw out the just the request. I do not ignore these things. Somebody requested that we stop doing favorite moments and we start doing favorite pop culture references. I wanted to bring that up. What do you guys think? Do you want to swap them out? Season 2, do something new?
I think that works for me. Let's change it up.
Let's change it up.
Because it would be, I think, it'd be hard not to, because the show changes it up every season. That's the point that I was trying to make. Yeah.
So, all right, Reddit user, I forgot your name, but we're listening to you. We will switch it up to favorite pop culture reference instead of favorite moment. Does anybody have one locked and loaded? I need to look up the exact reference for mine because I want to make sure I had the movie right.
Yes, I've got one.
Okay.
So this was a moment that we kind of brushed over that I was actually more in favor for. But this was the B story of Monarch trying to escape from prison, and even kind of like a B story of that story of when he tries to send out the little letter and then alerts the guild, and then Phantom Limb comes down, and Phantom Limb is contacting basically everybody that the Monarch is using to escape prison. And so he's interviewing King Gorilla, or attempting to threaten King Gorilla. So King Gorilla is like, yeah, after 10 years of paying dues and all of this shit, you can't even get me out of prison? He's like, you sodomized Vince Neil on live television. I only sodomized half of him. What? They wanted the surreal life, so KG gave it to him. And I was like, Vince Neil, like that's such an odd specific thing. And surreal life. And I was like, oh my god, the surreal life with Vince Neil, with Vanilla Ice, that reality TV show. Like I completely fucking forgot about that shit. And yeah, just the reference of that, and to believe that King Gorilla would have been on that show sodomizing Vince Neil would have just been hilarious. And what the hell does I only sodomized half of him mean?
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, I know it was a long moment, but yeah, that was my favorite moment.
For mine, my pop culture reference, I wanted to go with Brok's costume while he's in the montage, but I can't remember exactly what movie that rain cloak is referencing, because I know it's not fucking Unbreakable or fucking Glass that's coming out, although it looks like that. But I know that's coming from somewhere. I just can't remember. I thought it was Terminator. It's not Terminator. So I'll leave that one alone, and I'll go to when the Monarch's in prison and he's walking through like everybody, and it's the first time you see him. They basically recreated the soundtrack to the HBO show Oz. Damn. And I thought that was fucking incredible. Like it's just a little bit off, but the opening, if you never watched Oz, it's a good show. Just get ready for a lot of dick. If you're okay with seeing a lot of dick, you'll enjoy the show. I was okay with it, and it's a good show. I'll do whatever. But the opening of that song is just like, huh! And then it does this like, and this hit that exact same thing. Like it's clearly a reference to it. It's clearly like a version of the song, and it's all prison. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was great.
Nice. So mine is, and it's the only thing that like it was one of the things that came up while I was doing some research for the episode, which is I was always super curious, like, because there's a handful of moments in like every episode where I'm like, is this original or is this like referencing something like super obscure? And in the opening montage where he's like all of a sudden in the jungle and he meets up with that woman and then she scratches him and then he's like, and then he runs away once he notices Brok.
Yeah.
That's a reference to a Duran Duran music video, Hungry Like a Wolf.
Wow.
Yeah, I came across that and I was like, well, that explains that super specific sequence. So it's not something I recognized, but it is something that I came across where I was like, wow, that is a really deep pull for sure.
God.
Oh, this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it speaks again to the craftsmanship of like this show is so loaded with references. I'm sure, and I'm sure, and I know for a fact that all of us have missed a bunch of the references, and only the ones we caught. But it's like how many more are there that we just totally missed that spoke to somebody else? Like, even when we were talking about David Bowie references, which will come up again later, obviously, but even just in the first season, like in that one opening, there was like, I don't know, 12 references to David Bowie. And it's like, if you weren't a fan, you would have not known. It was Ghost of Sargasso, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you knew even just a little bit, you're like, what? That was like 12 references. Holy crap.
Yeah.
They can't stop themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, well, I'm going to bring episode 1 of season 2 to a close here. We can do a quick round of plugs. As always, I plug After the Hype. Be sure to check us out. We have, I believe our most recent episode was... Oh yeah, Avengers Infinity War. We had a really fun discussion on Avengers Infinity War. It was a hell of a movie, and we discussed the ups and downs and the characters they forgot, the ones they shouldn't have, and be sure to check that one out. It was a really fun episode. That's it for me.
I got nothing.
As always.
Yeah. I'm here. Hey, I'm on a podcast called the Venture Brothers podcast.
You already got the name wrong.
You're currently listening to it, so continue doing that.
Tell them to rate and review us on iTunes.
But you could rate and review us on iTunes.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, Graham.
Tell your friends and other people that you meet, just random people on the street. Go up to a bunch of strangers. Tell at least 10 strangers this week about this show. That's
oh my
your
god,
homework.
if you could do that and video yourself doing that and send it to us, I would be the happiest person alive. Video yourself finding strangers in the street and telling them, listen to Venture Bros, the Venture Brothers podcast. I'll give you nothing for it, but I will be really happy.
That's your homework.
It's like the world's worst episode of Billy on the Street.
Listen to a podcast you haven't heard of.
And then scream into their face and give them $1. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. It works for his show because he's a legitimate comedian. Please do not go up to people on the street, scream in their face, and then give them $1.
You don't have to do the screaming part, but if you do send a video of yourself doing that, we have a Twitter now. We're just getting it started. You know, you can go to the Twitter. You can send it to our email at athpod.com or athpodcast@gmail.com. Do it. I'm so into it. Do it.
We will not refund your $1. Just put that
No, if you do the $1 thing, I'm not giving you $1 back. But if you just go up to random people and tell us to watch the episode, or listen to the episode, I'm so happy. I'm happy at the thought of it. Do it.
Bryan will give you some prison currency of Macaulay Culkin pictures, though.
I will email you back a Macaulay Culkin picture for every video you send me, and it will be a different one every time.
Yeah,
perfect.
Entirely unique, just for you. You
Just
know what?
For you.
Bryan and I will even sign it. I will sign that photo of Macaulay Culkin as whoever you want. As myself, not as Macaulay Culkin, but as Vince McMahon. Anybody you want. I will sign it as somebody else, and we'll take a picture of it and email it to you.
Yep, it will happen. I promise.
Yep.
So do it. Nick, you still plugging Assassin's Creed?
Yep.
Cool.
Done.
Yep. It'll be out, in the next 2 months. So I don't know. Sit on your hands, but be excited.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Perfect.
Consider it plugged.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I am so excited for Season 2. There's so many great episodes in here, and I can't wait to get into all of them. And bye.
Bye-bye.